Okay, so now we're going to look at the rendering and lighting phases of the 3D design. First, I want to switch to 2D wireframe. It can get a bit annoying with the various materials flashing as you select them and things, so it is better to work in wireframe a lot of the time. Now, when doing the 3D visualization, the lighting, you don't really want to be swapping between these different visual styles all the time just to see how it will look. That will get quite cumbersome. Also, a lot of the time you want a specific view. Now think of this like taking a picture. If you take a photograph of a building and you set up a nice angle and it just looks just right, either looking down or maybe looking up or to the side, something like any photographers out there will know that getting the right angle of a photograph is one of the most important things. So if you've taken the trouble to, I don't know, and this isn't going to be a good angle because I'm not a photographer, but say you went to the trouble to get what you thought was a good view of your building from a good angle, showed all that you wanted to show. You might be wanting to tell someone about this doorway here, so you set up a good view of that door, okay? But then you went and did something else over here, and well, I want to get back to that previous view. I want to get back to that previous setup. Well, you are going to want to save those views in 3D. You are going to want to save the specific location you took that image from, especially if you're rendering and when you change it you want to render the same image again but just with different settings. You don't want to be having to find exactly the same area again. In fact, you never probably would be able to get the same angle and zoom and everything again. So what we have in AutoCAD, we have cameras, and these work just like the cameras in real life really. You can have video cameras for doing animations. We'll leave that for now. That's getting more complicated, but we'll just think of it as a normal one-shot camera for the time being. So up here we've got a visualize tab. We have 3D tools, which we've been working quite a lot throughout this course. We also have visualize. If you don't have that, again, just move off to a blank part of this toolbar, right click, go to show tabs and visualize, and click it, there'll be a tick next to it and it'll appear. Okay, and here we have all our lighting, more materials options, cameras, rendering, all those kind of things, and that's what we're going to be moving on to now. Okay, so first we want to set up a camera, and we will use a view similar to this. Okay, so I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go create camera, and all this does is bring a camera into the drawing, which we can then manipulate. So create camera, and you'll see without pressing anything you have a little icon of a camera here, and the way this works is you click once to select where you want your camera to be. So if it was imagine if it was on a tripod, this is where you would just place it. Then you want to select a target. Now this is just, what is your camera pointing at? Is it going to be pointing over there, over here? Well, it's going to be pointing at our building. Okay, and you can change everything later, so at the moment it's just a case of getting it in the drawing. So I'm just going to click there, and I like to name them, so click on name, and I will just call it Cam 01 for now. But if you were doing a kind of complex render with lots of different views, you might have one pointing at the main door, so you call that main door camera. You might have one pointing at the roof camera, you could call it whatever you want, but we're just going to have one to show you how it works. I'll just call it Cam 1, and then I'll just click return to exit. Okay, and this is our camera. Now leave this in wireframe mode and just click once on that camera, and there we go, it brings up this window here, and this is, as you probably guessed, this is the view looking through that camera. Now, just like we had with wireframe and the different visual styles here, we can change them simply by this. So we could go to wireframe on here. You're probably going to want to leave this as realistic. And now you can leave our drawing as wireframe and you can view it here in the realistic setting. What you can't do is, if you try and pan this, you can't change the view because this view is this camera. Okay, and when you click on the camera, this will appear. Now we can manipulate this. So we have different grips here. Remember our blue grips? Wherever you see these, it's something you can manipulate. So I'll just go through these quickly. The grip on the camera will move. If you click that and you grab it, this will move where the camera is placed. So you're basically moving your camera on the tripod. It's as if you, and I'm going to keep doing this because it's the easiest way to teach it. I'm relating it to the real world. If you were to pick up your camera on the tripod and walk along with it, that is what you're doing here. And you can move it in the flat plane, but you can also raise it up. So, you know, if it was on a drone or something going up in the air, or maybe somehow on the ground, I don't know how you'd do that, but you can go left and you can go right, and you can move it further away, you can zoom it right in. Okay, so that's picking up the camera and walking around with it. Okay, now we have here, and make sure that it's too close together here. You've got your distance, but you want that's an arrow, you want this box here, that is your target. So when we move this, as you can see, even though we're picking up and moving our camera, it's because we've set our target mobility, it's going to automatically always point at our target. So as we move it, it's tilting and rotating to always point at the target. Okay, and that's because we've set our target here. Now we can change the target, which is just basically what our camera is looking at. We can change that by moving this box. So our target is going to be these doors here. Okay. Now these arrows here, these are this is for photography terms now. This is a lens length FOV. Now I'm not a photographer, but I know what it's doing just by clicking on it. It's I think, do I call it depth of field? I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm not a photographer, but it's like a zoom. Okay. It's easier with that one. So you can zoom right in, and you can zoom out. Now we're not moving our camera, we're not moving our target, we're just zooming in and out. Okay. Again, if any photographers out there will be able to explain this better than me. For what I do, I generally move the camera, get it to where I want, and then I move the target. Okay, and then I do a bit of zoom in and out. And they're the controls I use. And it because again I'm not a photographer, it does take a bit of fiddling for me to get the right kind of shot. Let's put a target back on the door. Something like that maybe. Okay, anyway, let's just zoom it out. So I'm just gonna have it like there. Okay, and anyway, that is our camera. So you can have multiple cameras in a drawing. You could create another camera, and you could maybe put that here. And I'm just going to leave it the name it is. But then you've got different views, so you can have that one. You can have that one. Okay. Looking up. Now, however much you manipulate this, however much you zoom in and edit it, these cameras are always going to stay where they are. Okay, it's always going to be the same view. So you can have these save views, you can have these as part of your drawing, and as you change it and as you work on the drawing, as you move things around, you'll always be able to go back to the very same image and re-render it from exactly the same place, the same target, the same zoom settings. So that's really good. For rendering, you want to use cameras. Don't just render in, don't just try and zoom in or out and render a view, because it's you'll never get it right. Okay. But with cameras you can find the perfect view, one that looks really good, shows what you need to show, and just save it and use it there. Okay. So once you put those in, you've got them set up nice, save your drawing, and they're in. They're not going anywhere. Okay. So that's cameras. Next, we need to start looking at lighting so we can light our scene. Okay.